Millions of young ambitious people dream about starting their own startup and becoming filthy rich in the process. They want to start the next Apple, the next Blackstone or the next Sequoia. But few realize that they should aim to build a company like Gymshark. Because Gymshark achieved something only few companies can achieve. Something I call the holy grail of getting rich and powerful. Growing your business profitably and without external financing. Ben Francis, the founder of Gymshark, holds 70% of a company that has been valued at $1.3 billion during its last valuation event, minting the company as one of the latest European unicorns. Gymshark operates and grows differently than most companies, and today we want to explore what ambitious gorillas can learn from Ben's and Gymshark's rise to the top. It all started in a town close to Birmingham.
So I grew up in for me obviously I'd call it a fairly normal upbringing. Normal house in a town called Bromsgrove in just south of Birmingham in the West Midlands, so it's right in the middle of the UK. We're probably about 2 hours outside of London. So super just chill. I mean, it's not like a particularly well-known area. I'd say lately the most well-known thing to come out of the West Midlands will be Peaky Blinders out of Birmingham, which is all over Netflix and everything now. But yeah, it's a fairly normal suburban sort of upbringing.
Ben Francis founded Gymshark in Birmingham in 2012 as a 19-year-old student. His plan was clear: build a dropshipping website selling health supplements to fitness enthusiasts, so-called fitness bras.
Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters in life is having a tan.
He built a website and started his dropshipping business. It took a while until the business took off.
First sale, I was dancing around my bedroom like it was the best feeling ever.
First sale as in someone bought a supplement?
Yeah, someone bought something.
Oh, okay, after a few months?
Took about 2 months to get
bloody
the
hell,
first
okay,
sale.
that's a long time.
Finally, the dropshipping business started generating first revenues. However, one specific story that could have happened to any other fellow gym bro prompted him to abandon dropshipping and start Gymshark.
We're on YouTube. I was a massive fan of Ronnie Coleman, who's a huge lifter from Texas in the States. Obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger, guys like this. And they would always wear these bodybuilding clothes that just look really cool, if I'm honest. And I had this funny, interesting experience when I bought one of the sort of these tanks off Amazon or eBay, I can't remember. And it completely drowned me. Honestly, I looked like an absolute idiot in it. It was nuts. So I just thought to myself, how great would it be if this was smaller and it would actually fit someone that isn't a massive bodybuilder. And it was at that point I bought a screen printer, a sewing machine, and started to try and handmake the first products.
With the aid of his brother and several friends, he began producing gym vests and t-shirts in his parents' garage. Their first item? A bodybuilder vest for skinny cunts.
Right, I would love for us just to make our own clothing because no one makes the clothing that we want. Conveniently, my nan was doing a curtains course, my mum knew how to sew.
You mad, bro? You're under arrest for being a failure.
It became popular right away because other comparable products on the market were made for people who had already developed their muscles, so-called sick cunts. Francis unknowingly followed Y Combinator's founder Paul Graham's advice: create something that a tiny, underserved group of people really want, and then manually scale from there. Boom! Ben had found so-called PMF, product market fit, and he was going to make one of the most brilliant moves in the recent history of marketing. A true Chad move that was going to take Gymshark to Mount Olympus. The small Gymshark team worked to develop new items and get ready for forthcoming trade shows. At the same time, Ben kept an eye on YouTube fitness stars like Scott Herman. Back in 2012, influencers were not the influencers they are today. There were much less sponsoring deals, and influencers were slightly less spoiled brats in general. So when Ben sent some free Gymshark swag out to some influencers, they were extremely thankful and started posting pictures with it.
Basically, and that was the trigger point where all of a sudden it went from being this thing that I did from 10 PM to 1 AM to I'm now going all in on this.
Within weeks, fitness influencers started talking about Gymshark and the high quality of their products. And Gymshark's order book was filling up like crazy. Boom! Ben just discovered a scalable distribution strategy. He had what venture capitalists call initial traction. During the next Body Power Expo, Gymshark was flooded with orders. Ben reflects how from the second the door opened, their booth was packed. A true luxury problem. There were so many people interested in their product. It was unmanageable. But this was just the beginning. When the team put up more stock on their website, on the following days something crazy happened. Within 30 minutes, they had more traffic and more sales than they had the entire previous year.
It hit home because we went from doing £300 a day as initial revenue to £30,000 in the first half an hour of the website being live.
It was time to scale up aggressively. And if you want to scale up aggressively too, there's just one thing to do for you right now. Join my free Discord community and meet other like-minded megalomaniacs, babybacks and nascent baitmans. Yes, I decided to create a free Discord server for you brethren. If you want to build a side venture at some point, listen up. Now there is a free and a paid Kevin John Discord community. In the free one, you can exchange yourselves with each other and get to know other ambitious people without my involvement. In the paid one, I interact with everyone on a daily basis. We have channels to get your CV or cover letter reviewed by industry experts, channels to find ideas and co-founders for side ventures that can be built online, cheat sheets on how to build passive income, a career master planning channel, a gorilla after hours, and much more. And here's the thing, in the coming days I will introduce a new product in both Discord servers, the Side Venture Toolkit. I'll not say more for now, but there's going to be some proper giveaways and freebies for everyone. Links to both channels are in the description below. Join now and let's make Megalomania cool again. Back to Gymshark. Building a brand is something you need to get right from the very start. It's like this YouTube channel. Right from the start, I have been focused on talking exclusively to megalomaniacs and ambitious psychopaths. In a similar manner, Gymshark built a rock-solid foundation from the start.
I want Gymshark to be to the UK what like an Adi is to Germany, Lulu to Canada and Nike to the US. Like I want to do something that like I guess the whole of the UK can be really proud of. I want to do something that lasts way beyond all of our lives. And yeah, I want to build a brand in the right way.
They positioned themselves as a visionary brand that aspires to help individuals improve themselves by making them feel gorgeous and empowered. Their clothes are attractive for both total noobs as well as people who have advanced from sad cunt to the more desirable sick cunt status.
Everyone has a little bit of zizz in them. Every fucking cunt out there, you're a fucking sick cunt if you want to be, bro. Stop being a fucking sad cunt, alright?
And this was the perfect foundation to exploit their first distribution channel, fitness influencers. So they started signing up more and more fitness influencers to become Gymshark ambassadors and achieved a retention rate with them that is way higher than other fitness brands.
There are very, very few brands that that can confidently and comfortably say that they have athletes they have worked with for 100% of their lifetime. And there are very few people that will join onto Gymshark and then move on. And that's because we hire really slowly. We're really careful about the people that we bring onto the brand.
Today, these ambassadors include people like Steve Cook, David Lade, Karina L, or even Francis Ngannou. Viewers of this channel might be disappointed that there's no silverbacks in this list. Bill Ackman, Chamath Palihapitiya or David Sachs are missing. But that's because it's tough to achieve silverback status both physically and business-wise. From 2013 to 2016, they grew their revenues from 5 million to 15 million pounds. But influencer marketing could not be scaled infinitely. It would soon become pricey and saturated as more other firms started using influencer marketing. That's when Ben and Gymshark started leveraging the concept of mimetic desire at scale. If you have watched my video on Peter Thiel, you know what's up. Peter's political philosophy was heavily influenced by the French Stanford professor René Girard. He emphasized the role of outsiders and non-conformists. Girard made Peter Thiel a big believer in mimetic theory, which says that human beings naturally imitate the desires of other human beings. It's also why this channel works. We're all ambitious 0.1%ers looking to emulate some of our biggest business titan inspirations. This is not something most of us are aware of. We think we make autonomous purchase decisions based on objective facts, like these shoes are waterproof, or personal preferences like I like the way these sneakers look. But in reality, we are making the purchase because we are imitating someone in some way during that purchase. And Gymshark perfectly leveraged mimetic theory in their growth channel. Every channel they used was meant to provoke mimetic desire at scale. First trade shows, then influencer marketing, after that pop-up shops with fitness celebrities, and lastly a comprehensive social media empire strategy that led to Gymshark having more than 10 million followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and Twitter. And my brother Ben Francis is doing the only right thing. He is becoming an influencer himself too. Not only because it is becoming more and more expensive to work with influencers and it's hard to cut through the noise on social media, but also because there is a theory that states that companies with very public leader figures perform better. The best example is probably Elon Musk, who amongst other things has been actively fighting the threat of underpopulation recently, and Ben is following in his footsteps. I mean, in terms of building social media reach. Mimetic theory is working exactly the way it is supposed to. People see their role models doing stuff on the socials while wearing Gymshark, and they want to own Gymshark too. But Gymshark was about to face a much bigger challenge. We have talked about the concept that the world of business is split into bits and atoms. This is a framework that's incredibly useful to keep in mind. I have used it on various instances, and it might even come in handy during case interviews. People like Peter Thiel fundamentally believe that breakthroughs happen in the world of bits, because we live in a world in which bits are unregulated and atoms are regulated.
That we've lived in a world in which bits were unregulated and atoms were regulated.
But Gymshark is playing in the world of atoms, and that comes with a lot of problems. Most importantly, it's very capital intensive. As a young startup producing overseas, you are often forced to pay for inventory 100% upfront. And as a young company, you can only buy inventory if you know with 100% certainty that you can sell it quickly. On top, you have a limited sales history, so forecasting sales accurately for each product is a challenge. What if you buy 10,000 t-shirts and end up only selling 100? You are virtually bankrupt. But Gymshark solved this problem through a growth and manufacturing flywheel. It goes like this. Manufacture product in small and limited quantities to conserve cash. Post online and sell out because you manufactured too little quantities. Generate scarcity and FOMO because lots of your fans weren't able to buy. Hence, fueling demand for future drops, slightly increase batch size during the next drop. This is a strategy all your favorite YouTubers and influencers employ nowadays if they have a clothing brand. But back then, when Ben was scaling up, it was a novel tactic.
We'd had a product that was only available at this event. We'd accidentally built scarcity because we turned the website off while we were there. Not through a strategic decision, but because we weren't hand making the clothes, we had to turn the website off because otherwise people might order and not get them sent.
And to this day, even though they have grown to hundreds of millions in revenue and now have great payment terms with their suppliers, they are still employing this tactic, producing only what they are certain will sell and less than what their customers will buy. Just take a look at their site on Black Friday. On top, here's another thing Gymshark and Ben are getting right. Everybody knows that at some point, one of the most important things when building a company is building the culture.
Now, as the business grew, I think we built an amazing culture. So internally, we've got a brilliant culture and a great balance of people that are really trying to create, the next big thing and the next special thing, but equally those who are building a really robust business. Because you'll know, right, when you get to scale, it's all well and good, but if you're not built on solid foundations, it's sort of irrelevant.
And Gymshark's culture has a strong focus on talent. Ben proved that in one example, and it must have been really difficult for him. Ben always has been the Gymshark CEO, but in 2015, sportswear industry veteran Steve Hewitt joined as a managing director. A couple of years later, Steve was given the chief executive title. Ben Francis moved himself to CMO, a position he was a lot more suitable for, given he's such a marketing genius. This might sound trivial, but positions come with lots of prestige, and giving up a position like CEO can be incredibly hard. Although he returned to the CEO role in 2021, stating he had learned a lot and was ready for this challenge now. Throughout its life, Gymshark has managed to grow at incredible speed and double their business every year for the past years. £5 million in 2014, 10 million in 2015, 15 in 2016, 50 in 2017, 100 in 2018 and 200 million pounds in 2019. Unfortunately, all of this might just be temporary. A major challenge for Gymshark is glooming on the horizon. Gymshark achieved something only few companies achieve. Something I call the holy grail of getting rich and powerful. Growing your business profitably and without external financing. The funny thing is they did this in a healthy way, becoming the perfect example that not being VC funded doesn't result in being crippled with debts. Gymshark's profit ratios look like they descended straight from Mount Olympus. They are beautiful and aesthetic. But in August 2020, a major announcement was put out by private equity giant General Atlantic. Gymshark had raised around £200 million, valuing the company at more than £1 billion. The genius thing? Usually the share the founders own decreases during each funding round, but Ben Francis managed to increase his stake. He owns more than 70% of the company. On the one hand, this put him into ultra high net worth and business silverback territory, since he is worth at least 700 million now. But on the other hand, it creates problems. See, raising capital comes with a massive obligation. Your investors want to see their investment grow, and this means as a founder you need to deliver. In Gymshark's case, they need to grow massively in North America and Asia and become more mainstream. And Ben wants to expand, make Gymshark even more ubiquitous in the fitness journey.
You know, back in the day, Amazon just sold books, right? Now they sell everything. You know, back in the day, Apple sold desktop computers, and now they sell everything within reason. There's this sort of this ecosystem of products that support the ambitions and goals of their consumers. I want Gymshark to be like that. And in 10 years' time, I would love us to be sat here and sort of chuckling about the time that Gymshark, I'm going to say only sold apparel and accessories. I want Gymshark to be the fitness brand, and I want Gymshark to play in a larger part of people's fitness journeys, both mental and physical.
Essentially, this means more growth, more profitability, higher valuations. The pressure is on. And the problem is that so far, Gymshark has been a pure online company. But is the online market big enough for them to continue the pure DTC model that made them big? In order to achieve their big goals, Gymshark might be forced to abandon their niche online-only business model and go mainstream. TV ads, fighting for retail space, sponsoring the Super Bowl, and so on. Going offline with a more balanced distribution strategy requires more upfront capital and a completely different knowledge set. For example, Gymshark has never done TV advertisements before and has little experience fighting for offline retail space. On top, Gymshark has grown as a brand exclusively for gym enthusiasts, a very niche customer. But even though online commerce is exploding, at some point Gymshark will have to move away from the gym enthusiasts and appeal to other types of buyers. The more it adds SKUs, so different types of products, the more it reaches new audiences and grows into an active lifestyle fashion company. For example, they have started already by offering swimwear. But as it grows, mainstream Gymshark might face a decrease in loyalty and lose customers. If you want to kill Nike, you have to get closer to its size. But if Gymshark becomes Nike, then they are not the small, cool and disruptive company anymore they once were. The gorilla becomes a silverback, and suddenly the new silverback faces an existential threat. Get disrupted by a young, ambitious and aggressive gorilla again.